Hi, everyone. Welcome to Prevention Education, the podcast that teaches you everything about prevention. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Prevention Education podcast episode. As always, I'm your host, Kylie, and I am a prevention specialist with Preferred Family Healthcare Prevention. And today I have Jessica Wolf with me. So, Jessica, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, Kylie. My name is Jessica Wolf, and I am the school-based prevention manager with the S.P.I.R.I.T program here at
Yes.
Preferred Family.
Yeah, we absolutely love having Jessica. She's a huge asset to our team. And she is just a superstar in what she does. So, yes, we love Jessica.
Thank you.
To get into our get to know you question, it is if you were ice cream, what flavor would you be and why?
Okay, so, I don't know. That's such a good question.
I know.
You could have, I instantly went with vanilla because any kind of ice cream I eat, it has to be like French vanilla. I like plain Jane. I'm not too a sweet kind of a person. I feel like I'm a sweet person, but I don't like sweet stuff. Um, so instantly I thought vanilla because that's what I eat. But if you rocky roads, because there's always rocky roads ahead. And I feel like I would definitely, I have rocky roads sometimes. So I would say rocky roads.
That's a good answer. I like that a lot. I think mine is Moose Track just because, so my favorite state is Maine, and they have a lot of moose or meese. I think it's moose,
uh,
um, up there. And then I love chocolate, and I feel like with me, you never know like what you're gonna get either. And in Moose Tracks, you never know what you're gonna get in your bite. So
Exactly. I love it. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I don't know. And I didn't think about that beforehand. That literally just came to me. So
I
meant to
love
be.
it. That's funny. That is hilarious.
Well, perfect. So now that our listeners know just a little bit about us, had a little fun with us, we will get into our topic. So today we're
Okay.
talking about how to get involved in your community. So I guess we'll start out this way. What is our community? Like, where do we serve? Where does Spirit specifically serve? Yeah.
So we serve um, Northeast Missouri. We can serve 27 county area. However, we're just in Knox County, Scotland County, Macon, South Shelby, which is Shelby County, and Adair County. And we have been in Clark County. We're no longer in Clark County currently, but that's the communities that we serve with our Spirit grant.
Yeah. Yes. And as a prevention department, we serve the 27 northern counties. Um, but yes, that's the concentrated area for Spirit. So
Yes.
if someone is in, whether it's the areas that you just stated or our 27 county service area, or really like in any community, how how can they simply get involved in their community?
So, Spirit used to be really involved in Knox County because that's where we were housed for years. We were just in the Knox County schools. And then eventually we branched out to other schools to expand our services. And because of that expansion, we've had a hard time getting involved in we no longer can do Rotary Club or those kind of community things because it takes up too much time where we could be using it and be good stewards of our time doing prevention work. And so we don't really do Rotary Club and all of that anymore. However, we are involved in our coalition. I encourage my staff and myself to really get involved in your local coalition. And that's one way that you can get involved and help your community is in your local coalition. And so that is what we do, even though we do prevention, and coalition is different than our school-based prevention services, but we encourage to do that as well. Another thing you can do, we do Bright Futures Coalition in Knox County, but just helping out. You can actually volunteer at schools, any school. I know Knox County, we have some retired teachers that come in, or people that just want to help make copies or cut out things for teachers, and they make piles every week and they come in and help. So I know in your community, your school would probably appreciate your help, even getting involved in your school, helping them out. And of course, I think it's important that we get involved in a community, but also like not waiting for people to ask you.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of time we want to sit back and be really comfortable and just like, oh, somebody else will do it. But I know like in our area in the rural Missouri, it's hard because you have the same people in your communities doing everything. And so there's burnout, there's turnover. And so getting involved if you can, if you have the time and the resources to do so, it's so important just to step in and ask somebody, hey, what does Bright Futures of Knox County? What is that? Or how do I get involved in the PTO, parent teacher organization in the elementary? Or I say that just because I have kids in elementary still, but the booster club
Yeah.
in the high school, after prom, helping kids have a successful after prom. So getting involved, there's so many opportunities. It's just your willingness. And like I said, don't wait for somebody to ask you, because it won't come. And like, we have to take charge of our community. We have to take charge of making change in our community, and using your voice to do that. So
Yeah.
that's something that I kind of thought about, because I know, and in your church group, you can reach youth. I'm about reaching youth because I do school-based prevention services. So youth are really important to me. Kids are really important. And so I do serve on our, as a leader on Wednesday nights church too. And so I think that's important to get in that faith-based community as well.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree more with that. We help with youth at our church, and that's where we feel like we're making the most difference in our community is through, yeah, there's only like 10 kids there, but those 10 kids are amazing. And just like through them, they have so many connections, and it's the best thing ever. That, in my opinion, that's the best way to spend. It's also on Wednesday nights for us. It's the best way to spend Wednesday nights. So,
And you've
yes.
done some services too. And so like if you think about it, like I go into schools and I go in and do teach lessons. It's a universal prevention curriculum. So I go into every classroom. I don't really do a lot of selected indicated population, focus groups or anything anymore. But you build those healthy relationships with those kids on Wednesday nights. Like we have strong connections. We've had them since they were in kindergarten. And then I just had two girls actually that I don't even have on Wednesday nights anymore. They're in a different class. They're in the older class now, but they asked me to be their running partner for this Girls on the Move. They're running a
Mhm.
5K. They asked me to be, and it just like melted me because I'm like, oh, what I'm doing is making a difference. And so don't give up, I guess, is my next thing. Don't give up when you are working in your communities, because sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not doing a lot or I'm not making a difference, but you really are. And you just keep doing what you're doing and get involved and don't be shy. And I didn't know a lot about Wednesday night church when I was asked to do it. I don't even know, 6, 7 years ago. And I have grown so much as like an individual by doing it. It's helped me out. And so you learn as you go. It's a process. So you don't have to know everything about a coalition to get involved. You don't have to know everything about PTO to get involved, or a Wednesday night church group. And so yeah, I think it helps you as an individual grow and feel that sense of belonging as well in your community when you do that.
Yeah. And I think it's also important. I know there's some um like restrictions on some groups that you can join, whether you have a kid or not.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
but there are so many options out there to whereas it does not matter if you're a parent or if you are a caregiver to anyone, or if you have any experience. Like you can just show up and people will welcome you in with open arms. And if you're there to volunteer, they're happy to have you most of the time. And so there's so many options in the community that you don't have to have qualifications to just go and dedicate your time to, which is amazing.
Yeah,
So,
amazing. Absolutely. You don't have to have a 4-year degree or or,
Exactly. You just need some
that's,
time and they'll take you.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So then, if someone is curious as to how to get involved with coalitions, how can they potentially find a coalition in their community, or kind of what's the first step in that process?
So the first thing I would do is reach out to our website and reach out to our prevention specialists here at Preferred because they would tell you if there is a registered coalition. You could ask key community members. If there's a coalition in your community as well, I know in the top 27 county area, we would know. However, if you're not in our area listening to this, you could reach out to key community members, find a prevention resource center that's nearby you to figure out, who you could talk to get involved in a coalition and what that
Yeah,
coalition's about.
exactly. You want to make sure that your interest aligns with what the coalition is, or else you might not be passionate about it. You might not want to show up. You might not want to even have a voice in it whatsoever. So, kind of doing that research maybe
And
before
I
you go to
really
the first meeting.
Yeah, and I
But
really think we need more champions in prevention and in coalitions. We need people that are passionate because if you've ever had a negative experience because of alcohol, drugs, or anything like that, we need that voice in our community. We need those voices in our communities because that's what makes a difference. Your passion, your storytelling is huge. And so yeah, it's so important. And you may not feel like what's happened to you is important, but it is. We see it all the time at prevention conferences. We hear stories, they impact us. We know we're making a difference. And so we need those champions to step up because everybody is impacted, with substances at some point in their life, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or whatever. And so, yeah, we need those stories. We need those champions on our coalitions for sure.
yeah, that's a really wonderful point. You don't have to be a perfect person because no one is. The more kind of input that you can have, the better and the more welcome. I don't want to say the more welcome you are. Everyone's welcome, but
Yes.
um, the more they would love to hear about your experiences. Yeah, that's a wonderful point.
And you can change someone else's insight too, by
Yes.
doing this, because sometimes it's hard for us, even coalition members, maybe they don't have those experiences like you do or I do. And they could, you know, broaden their horizon, they could, their vision and understand. And I don't know what I'm trying to say, but something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm tracking. I think our listeners, they're
Good.
tracking.
Good.
Yes, well, do you have any kind of like other insights on how to get involved? So we've talked about coalitions, schools, really any like outside of that, any organization, whether it's like joining a knitting club or playing cards with some friends on a certain day. I just talked to my grandma about that the other day, so that's where that came from. But
Oh.
there's just so many ways that you can get involved, and one conversation can make a difference. So,
Mhm.
yeah, do you have any kind
Absolutely.
of final thoughts, or do you feel like I kind of missed something on this topic? Feel free to add anything.
Um,
This is like your free for all section.
I think you did a good job with it. The only thing that I would think was get involved because there's always the same champions and the community is doing the work and there is burnout and we don't want prevention or your involvement in your community because the reason you're there is to help the youth out. And I know parents are typically involved in their youth and in their community, but they're also running every night of the week to basketball practice and to different things. And so definitely get involved and maybe it'll lessen the load on everybody's to make sure that our community is thriving and protecting our youth and finding things and how we can impact them in a positive way.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful message. And I hope all the listeners will benefit from something that they heard today. And even if that's just simply get involved in your community, if that's all they take away, I think that's 100% worth it because we just want everyone to love your community. So at the end of the day, if you don't love it, it's going to kind of crumble. And if everyone loves it, it's going to succeed and it's going to create a brighter future for the youth in it at the end. So, yeah. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for all your insight on this topic. I learned a little bit, so I really hope that our listeners who tuned in learned a little bit as well. Um, yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you do for this department. You're seriously a superstar. But with
Thank
all of
you.
that, yeah, with all of that, if you want to contact Jessica, her email, and Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, it's
Mhm.
jwolf@pfh.org.
Yep.
Or you can email moprevention@pfh.org and we'll get you in contact with Jessica. Um, and then our website is pfh.org/prevention, so you can find all of our information on there as well. But definitely don't hesitate to reach out if you want to kind of kickstart a passion that you have in your community, especially if you're in a community that Jessica is in or I'm in, any of our counties. We're happy to help. So thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into our podcast. Remember to follow us on social media at PFH Prevention. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify, and more podcasting platforms. And make sure to email us at moprevention@pfh.org with any questions, and feel free to call us at 660-627-7404. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.